Hey, Brett.
Yeah, Chad.
I've decided to start a new career.
Okay, what's that?
Lounge chair psychologist.
What?
Yeah, I've been working on my examination style.
You need to go to university?
Shh, now. We are almost out of time.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to do a word association test with you. I'm going to say a word and you say the first thing that comes to your head, okay?
Okay.
Keeper.
Crypt.
Foot.
Toe.
News.
Current.
Beach.
Sea.
Okay, so your answers were crypt, toe, current, sea.
What was the diagnosis, doctor?
Unfortunately, we're out of time.
Welcome to WTF is CryptoSpace. I'm Brett.
And I'm Chad.
This podcast is all about the crypto space.
Remember, you can find our Facebook group by searching WTF is CryptoSpace. If you could join the group, we can continue the conversation there and answer any questions you have during the week.
And review this podcast and give it some stars on iTunes, because that would really help us out.
Yeah, it really does. Also, Brett and I are both on Twitter. Brett's Twitter handle is WTF CryptoSpace, all one word. And mine is Chad Shuttle Muso. I'm going to spell that out. ChadShuttleMuso. Chad Shuttle Muso.
And we're going to change it up a little today, Chad, and start the podcast with some thank yous.
Thank yous.
Okay, so here we go. We now have over 550 downloads, Chad.
Oh my goodness, that's incredible.
And a thank you to the over 70 downloaders of our podcast on a weekly basis.
Thank you, subscribers. You guys are rocking.
Okay, and thank you to An Nguyen from Vietnam and Greg Armstrong from Brisbane for their contributions to the podcast Facebook group so far.
You guys rock. Thank you so much. Greg and Nguyen are just doing such a good job over there. Thank you, guys.
And look, a huge shout out to Tim and Clint from Crypto Traders Facebook page. I was fortunate enough to meet them at one of the recent Bitcoin meetups that we held in Southeast Melbourne.
Shout out!
So, look, I love the next segment that's coming up, Chad. I'm so excited.
What's the next segment, Brett?
Chad, it's a fuck.
Oh, Brett, what does fuck stand for?
Well, that's a really good question. In fact, it's frequently asked questions. So here we go, nice. Chad. So the first one's from Mum. This one is, where is my Bitcoin?
I have no idea, Mum.
And then the second follow-up question to that is, how do I know where my Bitcoin is?
Oh, serious question. Okay, well, Mum, and anyone out there who is wondering where the Bitcoin actually sits and lives, when anyone purchases a Bitcoin with their country's currency, that amount is translated into the value of Bitcoin equal to the amount you paid. Now, that's a big mumbo jumbo. We have an example, though. In Australian dollars, currently, as per this recording, the cost of a Bitcoin is $3,060.92 Australian. Now, that when you purchase a Bitcoin or a part of a Bitcoin, you have to set up an online wallet or a code that the Bitcoin is assigned to, which we discussed in episode 5. But if you guys are having any troubles with that or you want some more information, head over to the Facebook group at WTF CryptoSpace. So this code is unique and secure to you. For anybody who is religiously forgetting their password, not naming any names, there are apps out there for your iPhone and Android that help you to keep it secure but present in the front of your mind.
Look, Chad, I'm also a fan of 1Password. That's a good app as well.
Oh, nice. So the Bitcoin is assigned to this code, and you can see the Bitcoin's value, which goes up and down depending on the day, depending on the market. But it's not physical, yet you can still exchange it with other currencies in the crypto space or back to whatever currency you would like to for a small fee, which I think that leads us into today's topic, Brett.
Yeah, look, thanks, Chad. Chad, today's topic is why Litecoin is going to really pack a punch against Bitcoin in the next 5 months.
Hoo-ha! Yeah.
Hoo-ha! Okay, so before I continue, it's important to note that this podcast is not intended to be financial advice. Like anything, it's important to do your own research. In fact, I recommend investing at least, 10 hours into finding out a little bit more so that you can invest in your financial education before even putting your first dollar into the crypto space.
Like a house, like stocks, you do not just go blindly into it. Definitely do some research. But this is what this podcast is about, giving you a little bit, but you to do your little bit of research for yourself.
So what we're going to talk about is Litecoin and how that compares to Bitcoin. Because at the moment, like we said today as we're looking at the podcast, are we doing it in Australian dollars, Chad?
Yep. I think so.
All right. So Australian dollars is $59.89 for Litecoin, and Bitcoin is now around the 3,000 and or so dollars that Chad just mentioned a moment ago.
Yep.
So the creator of Litecoin is Charlie Lee, and he has an awesome Twitter handle. His one is called Satoshi Light. And Satoshi being the inventor or creator of Bitcoin. So being light, Litecoin. So play on words.
That's funny. That's good.
And he always posts them. He is absolutely the king of geeks, but he is brilliant. So there is plenty. He's got many followers there, and he always is releasing new things about different things that are upcoming in the Litecoin sphere.
Nice.
So when you look at these two coins side by side, you look at Bitcoin, you look at Litecoin. The thing is that Litecoin itself is 4 times faster, Chad, than Bitcoin.
4 times faster. Is that when they you exchanging it? Like it takes 10 minutes kind of to have it translated and verified. Does that mean it takes 2.5 minutes to kind of transfer and do all its bits and pieces on the blockchain?
Yeah, absolutely. And so the other aspects is that it's a capped coin, just like Bitcoin. So it has a maximum total amount of coins that are ever going to be in production. The other cool thing about this is because it's more nurtured and cared for, because it was less value earlier on in its growth, it means that less people have misplaced their Litecoin password. So there's actually more in circulation, right?
It sounds like our family for sure. For sure. I get phone calls from mum and dad going, "Hey, do you know what my password is?" I was like, "No, that's your job, guys. That's your job to remember."
But the beautiful thing about that, Chad, is that when you attach money to it, no one forgets their password.
No one forgets it.
So with Bitcoin and Litecoin, like I said, Litecoin is a lot less expensive than Bitcoin is at the moment. The total circulation that is possible for Litecoin is 84 million coins, just like Bitcoin has 21 million.
Okay, so I've got an advantage over these people. I can actually see your notes. So that is literally 21 times 4 is 84. Am I right?
That's correct. Absolutely.
Nailed it. Maths is my strong suit, kind of.
Well, look, the total market cap at the moment for Litecoin is a lot lower than as you'd expect than Bitcoin, because the total number of Litecoins in circulation at the moment is 51,940,000, and Bitcoin is only 16,441,000.
Yeah, well.
Now, the difficulty is most of the time you go, okay, well, hang on a second, there's more coins in circulation, so it should be worth less because there's less, there's more of them. Okay, so that makes sense.
Yes,
but here's the thing. You need to have a use for these things. So Bitcoin is more what you would call a store of wealth. People can put their cash into it, and then they can hold it there for longer periods of time.
Yeah, kind of like the old school diamonds or gold or that sort of stuff.
Well, yeah, like the gold of the crypto space, if you will.
Oh, yeah, nice.
But I do like that Litecoin, and look, it was one of Charlie Lee's early brainchilds, is that he really positioned Litecoin to be the silver to Bitcoin's gold.
Okay, so that makes sense. So Bitcoin is like the logo is actually gold and Litecoin's is silver. So that makes like a heck of a lot of sense.
Absolutely. And the thing is that when you look at the supply, yes, there's a little bit more, but there's a lot more utility to Litecoin.
So now give me some examples.
Well, point of sale systems, right?
POSs. POSs, yep. My favorite.
Okay,
POS.
so when you swipe the FPOS system, the money changes hands.
Yes.
Now, you imagine this. You go buy a cup of coffee. Now, we talked about the fact that the charges, right? So the charges for Bitcoin might be somewhere in the vicinity of, say, $12.50 just to move a bit of money from one wallet to another wallet. Now, the other thing is that it takes a little bit more time for those transactions to occur. So I'd be going to buy Bitcoin I'd trade Bitcoin for, say, a car or a house, some sort of bigger asset where you're not in a hurry to transact the amount. Maybe even
Yeah, you're
gold.
like, I might have buyer's remorse. Yeah, let's just wait 10 minutes and I'll think about it.
Exactly. So the other thing then is Litecoin has some really exciting news coming out over the next couple of months. There's lots of rumors, but one of the coolest things is that the MIT Litecoin project is on countdown. Now there is a bit of controversy in the Bitcoin sphere about August 1st and whether or not this is going to be, one of those pinnacle moments, but they have them so often in Bitcoin, it's hard to keep track. So one of the things is that when you look at that, you say, okay, well, Bitcoin will come, go, there won't be any problem. We'll go on to the next stage of Bitcoin and there'll be a nice little up leg. But the thing is with Litecoin, at the same anniversary that they're bringing out this information about Bitcoin, they're also going to be bringing out new software for Litecoin, which is going to be released from MIT. So the important thing is that in this space, they will be even faster, which means that this will be capable of doing the daily transactions because the cost of the Litecoin transaction for the same amount of money that you were transacting with your Bitcoin would only be around the 25 to 50 cents US dollars.
So in comparison to Bitcoin, if I went to buy a house, it would be, understandable, but I could potentially go and buy like a computer or
maybe a cup of coffee, Chad. It is
or
going
a cup
to be
of coffee.
That fast.
Well, I won't have buyer's remorse unless it tastes like crap.
You can't refund it.
Well, you can, but it's not. It doesn't. You have to wait a few hours. It's longer than waiting 25 minutes. I'll be honest with you.
But the thing is, with the speed of Litecoin being so quick, it means that people will use it for their daily transactions. It's the first of the cryptocurrencies that are really going to have potential for mass market activity, if you will. Now,
that's
obviously,
really cool.
Yeah, exactly. And so for the more activity that you have, the more worthiness the coin or token has, or the currency is going to have. And therefore, the more value that particular coin or token will experience.
Okay. So does that mean that we were going to see a lot more growth because of the ability to sort of use this more frequently than Bitcoin?
Look, Chad, naturally, I'm not a market forecaster, but I will say is that there is a heck of a lot more potential when you have many, many multiples times faster and more utility that Litecoin has than Bitcoin. I tell you, it's no lightweight.
Is it likely to, good pun, is it likely to change the speed of transactions to being lower in any time in the future? Would that be something that they'd be looking at?
Well, like I said, at the moment, the block size, so the amount of transactions that will go, that happen every 2.5 minutes. But here's the other aspect. The transactions accumulate in between those 2.5 minute slots. So what you're looking at when you say a block size, people talk about the size of the amount of transactions that can be done within that 2.5 minute period, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, so with Bitcoin, it only has a 500 million sort of transaction rate, and not dollars, but 500 million.
Transactions specifically, doesn't matter about the amount.
Yeah. Now, the thing is that with Litecoin, the speed of transaction will happen it'll have a higher capacity than that of Bitcoin, which means as well, more people will move more higher amounts of cash using Litecoin's network because it has what's called a lightning fast network.
Nice. Well, obviously, it's we don't want to say do invest or don't invest. We're just giving you guys the thing, but it does sound like it's a good opportunity to potentially do some more research and potentially invest.
Look, this is a growing space, Chad, and we'll continue to bring different things and different tech out about the different top 10, and then even we'll choose a couple of other ones further down on the list shortly. But remember, like we said last time, you can visit coinmarketcap.com and find out what we were talking about tonight. You might see some of those. We are also going to put a link down below about some of the other information that we're talking about so that you yourself can compare. And I'm also going to put a link to one of Charlie Lee's talks.
Well, guys, thanks so much for listening. Like us once, comment twice, and share the link to our podcast on your social medias and websites. Remember, you can always tweet Brett at WTF CryptoSpace. And you can ask me questions. Good luck. At Chad Shuttle Muso.
Remember that if you write a review and give us a 5-star rating on iTunes, that really encourages us to continue to create podcasts for your listening pleasure.
Also, click subscribe to this podcast to get your weekly podcast updates from us knuckleheads. And you'll get it in your podcast feed every Wednesday, 9 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. But until next time, I'm Chad.
And I'm Brett.
Let's get excited about the crypto space.
The transition has begun.
And this is the machine that goes, bing! It tells us that your baby is still alive.